Hey everyone, welcome back to Immediate Movie Reactions. I'm here after seeing Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, which I think is the correct title. I keep messing these up. And before I get too far, I do want to ask if you could please like, share, and subscribe and do all that stuff. I always forget, and I know that the numbers say that it works, and I really do appreciate all of the time that people are putting into watching that sort of thing. So thank you very much. This movie, boy, it's strange. I don't know why it took me so long. I think when we look at the top grossing movie franchises of all time, you know, taking out, of course, Star Wars, because that's its own entity, and the MCU, I think, doesn't count, even though breaking it down, Spider-Man and Black Panther and Avengers and all that kind of count as their own franchises, and they're all in the top 20 grossing. But if we take all of those out, what do we have? We have the Fast series. For whatever reason, I don't know, people like them. You've got Harry Potter, you've got Avatar, you've got Transformers. God, those are terrible movies. But you've also got Planet of the Apes, right? And now it's like 1968, somewhere like that the first movie came out, I believe. So I think this is the 10th movie in the franchise, and it's made over $920 million over the course of its lifetime. And yeah, that's not the billions that a Star Wars or MCU is making, but that's a significant amount of money. There are people that are watching these films, but we don't talk about them, right? They're not brought up as the canon of sci-fi, but I think they really deserve to be. And you want to look back at the camp of the early ones, okay, that's fine. And let's take out the freaking Mark Wahlberg one, because sorry, no, we don't want to talk about that. But this latest generation is actually, it's fantastic. And I think Andy Serkis built this franchise. He built it into what it is. The motion capture, the technology, the computer imaging, the way they build these films, it's absolutely stunning. The fact that they can really have characters that aren't human, but we still know and we care about. Now, here's where I think this starts to fall apart in this movie a little bit. Obviously, we ended the last movie, Caesar has died. We start this movie with his funeral. It's kind of a throwaway scene, because it's really just showing, hey, we are moving on from what we were. And then we fast forward many generations. Now, the problem I have with that is toward the end of the last film, even though I don't know that I really enjoyed it, I think it was War for the Planet of the Apes, as much as some of the others, it did actually build up some of the characters, and we wanted to see Rocket. We wanted to see Caesar's children. But I think what we see is actually a parallel to the Roman Empire, and it's not a coincidence that he's named Caesar, right? Because in this, now we're many generations later, we have sort of, and this is where I think Furiosa has kind of failed, is that it didn't really evolve the story too much. It kind of just tells the same basic story and then ends without any sort of resolution. You know, the main characters are happy and healthy. Well, not Mad Max, right? But in this, they're happy and healthy and they're doing their thing. And then what happens? They get captured, or friends and family get captured by a rogue ape nation or rogue humans or whatever, and they have to go fight and they have to go get them back. And that's kind of just repeated in this, is we follow three apes who are part of the Eagle clan, and they're getting their eggs, and there's going to be a bonding ceremony, and Ron Perlman is one of the apes. I believe it was Ron Perlman. Like, that had to have been Ron Perlman. I didn't look it up. And that's all kind of cool. But then the bad apes come in, because then there's a human, which they call Echoes in here, because at this point in the story, the humans have basically lost their ability to speak, except there's one that we find that can speak. Her name is May, and I just totally forgot the actress's name, and I apologize for that, but she's like supermodel gorgeous. Like, she's absolutely stunning. and no amount of fake dirt that's on her really hides that. I found that was a little off-putting, a little strange. I think they may have been able to make a choice in a different direction. But she's kind of a minor part. She's what gets the plot going. As what happens is there's this Proximus. So here's where the Roman Empire thing comes in, right? And what's that TikTok? Like how often do men think about the Roman Empire? Well, watching damn movies like this, we think about that, right? And so what's happened is now we have Proximus Caesar, who Caesar has now become this sort of religious figure. And there is a orangutan named Raka, who is a priest, a wandering priest. And I'm going all over the place here, but my thoughts are now coming back to me, right? So I think that there is actually sort of a gay reference in this, which I thought was amazing. Now, there's 3 apes. There's Naya, Noah, and Sona, something like that. She's the female ape. And I believe Naya and Noah are brothers, even though it seemed like maybe they weren't at the beginning, but they do talk about, hey, father was killed. So I think where I was seeing sort of a gay reference in them, in their relationship, was actually that they were brothers, and that cool. But there was a reference to Raka, who was the orangutan, having a partner. He said he was my kin, or he was my clan, or something like that, and now he is burning his body. Which we know, if you study apes, you know that there is actually examples of homosexual behavior within apes. So that's fantastic. I think for me, that's one of my favorite parts in these movies, is seeing how they bring in the natural tendencies. Even though I would argue a little bit that the gorillas in this movie, I'm sorry, that car is really loud, that the gorillas in this movie are a little too, actually, I think there's only one, a little too mobile, climbs a little bit too much. They're not necessarily arboreal. And I want Maurice, and I want some of the orangutans from the others. But anyway, this all kind of comes ahead as the Eagle Clan ends up getting captured, and the apes, Proximus Caesar, who is the new Caesar, right? Get it? That's where, this title came from, which then from Caesar became Russian Tsar, as, the political rulers. So anyways, he's got this kingdom that he's building, and he's trying to get into this super secret military vault, which somehow May knows how to get into, and she knows how to activate it, and all the lights work, and why all these things still work generations later, because that time jump is really weird. It feels like maybe there wasn't a lot of time, but then we also see all the buildings are destroyed, and some actual beautiful cinematography and scenery, and I love how they set up the sort of post-apocalyptic. But then we also look at what the apes have developed, and if we think about the development of human society, we've got basically 10,000 years from the time that we came out of Africa before we started to farm and before we started to domesticate animals. But these apes are already doing that, and maybe they have, because they have been taught to do this, they were able to do it at a faster rate. But again, we don't want to see thousands of years of the apes developing, and they do talk about this in a little bit. What Proximus Caesar wants to do is stimulate evolution, and he thinks by getting into this super secret vault, which then May does, and then everything goes to shit and whatever. And it does raise some questions about whether humans and apes could ever exist. Could they exist? Obviously, completely fictional, but can we exist with someone who is not us? Can we exist with these others? And who do we root for? Do we root for the apes? Because obviously we're human. We want the humans to survive, but almost every human in this, even May, who is, I guess, the good guy, they're also kind of dickbags, and they just want to kill the apes, and they just want to, maybe understandably, take the world back over. And so I think it asks good questions. The problem is that movie after movie, they never give us an answer. And this is another movie that was fun to watch. I really, really enjoyed it. I thought that there were characters that we could identify with. However, I don't think it really answers any questions. It does set up another movie, obviously. There will be another one. But it doesn't ever feel like it I don't know, not the responsibility, or believe, maybe that it believes in itself that it can actually answer these questions. And as May and Noah kind of meet toward the end of the film, as they're saying goodbye, and Noah asks her, can they ever survive? And she says, maybe, I don't know. Yeah, that's it. Is that, again, we have another story that there's a conflict with human and apes. Nothing really gets resolved. Everything kind of goes back to where it was. And there we are, just waiting for another sequel. So anyway, I am looking at my time and I am seeing that I am almost 10 minutes, and I did not plan on going this long in this movie. But I really want to talk about it. This is a franchise that I've been watching almost my entire life. Up with Uncle Harold late at night, watching Doctor Who and Planet of the Apes. Like, these are great movies. I do want to say, God damn it, this theater was almost empty. Now, I know we're kind of at the end of the run of this movie, but some guy came and sat like a seat away from me and ate the freaking world's loudest popcorn for almost the entire fucking movie. Why? Like, dude, seriously, sit somewhere else. Okay, sorry, I know I get distracted. It's a problem. So anyways, here we are. See it, stream or skip it. I think we're kind of past the point. If you still get a chance to see this in the theater, and it is a good theater movie. There's a lot of, big scenery. There's a lot of kind of cinematic scenes and everything. I think it's cool, but obviously this is a good streaming. I do recommend it. I think that this is a franchise that does need to be talked about more. It's better than Avatar. I hated Way of Water. I thought that this movie got a little bit long. So seeing it at home is probably the perfect opportunity where you can say, okay, cool, they're going into the vault. We're going to pause it and we're going to take a little break or go for a walk or get a snack or whatever. Anyway, I got really long in this and I apologize, but I appreciate everyone who has stuck through and everyone who has watched. Please like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. And I will see you after the next movie.